Thanks for having us. We'll do a quick little introduction before we get to our presentation. My name is Kyle Leach. I work for the Montana Child Support Services Division, and I'm based in Helena. And I am the compliance manager for the division. And a coworker of mine, I'll let her introduce herself. She's with us as well.
Hi, I'm Brooke Sturm, also with Child Support based in Helena, and I am the program auditor.
Okay, so that's who we are, and we'll get started with our presentation. Okay, can we all see that? Brooke, can you see that? Okay. Okay, so we'll start just a brief uh, overview of the Child Support Services Division and what we do. Um, we have been around for quite a while as a department or as a division of the state. This is kind of a little history of that. The Social Security Act in 1975 kind of created child support programs across the country that under a uniform basis. So we're all kind of doing the same things, and there was some regulations put in place and guidelines and things like that for running child support programs. There was a big change in the early 90s when they were working through welfare reform, and that really changed child support programs and really beefed up what authority we had, what we could do, and helped unify the country under more regulations so that it didn't matter if you lived in North Dakota or Montana or South Dakota or whatever, you all kind of get the same services and had to kind of follow all the same rules. So now we're up into the 2020s, which is current time. We are really pushing technology and how that can help us do our jobs better and serve the families of Montana better. We are currently using a really antiquated child support program system. Our computer system was designed in the early 90s, but that is up for modernization here in the next couple years. So that's good. But they're very expensive, these systems. But we're trying to get it into the current technology so we can better serve the families across the state. And like I said, the Social Security Act from 1975 is what kind of created child support programs. Each state and territory, and we have has a child support program, and 60 tribal governments have child support programs now also. It was originally designed to just collect reimbursement for any sort of cash public assistance like TANF or AFDC that was spent out by the state. That has evolved into collecting child support for just non-assistance cases. So, like if you're not on TANF, you can still request child support services from the other parent of the children. That wasn't always the case. It was started out as just reimbursement for any sort of assistance benefits paid out. We also have agreements with foreign governments. We have agreements with Canada is our big one, but we have lots of other agreements with a lot of European countries, South American countries, Asian countries, Australia, all over the place. So no matter where, for the most part, there are some countries we don't have any authority in, but there are a lot of them that we can, let's say a parent moves to Australia, they owe child support from a Montana order. That mom and her kids, live in Sydney or wherever, and we can still get a hold of that other parent by going through Australia's child support program. So that's really, really helpful. People aren't running as much as they used to because we can find them wherever they end up and try to get those funds for the family. And this is just a brief of our mission. We are here to improve the economic stability of families through the establishment and enforcement of parental obligations. So we establish support amounts. If there isn't a support amount established by, let's say, a district court order, our agency can establish support orders. We can also help resolve legal paternity if someone doesn't know who the father is of a child. our agency can proceed and try to determine that so that we can proceed with getting parentage established and getting a support order and helping that family um, meet their needs. So, and we do have a hashtag. I don't know how familiar people are with hashtags, but this is what we use for all of our social media. We do. It's just Child Support 406, kind of a Montana thing there. So we try to put that on all of our social media going forward to kind of just get the buzz going with what we do here at Child Support. And our division is not a large one. We have approximately 130 or 131 full-time staff across the state. Compared to HHS, we are not big for the whole department, but we do serve a lot of families in the state, and we are broken out into 3 bureaus. We've got the Fiscal Bureau, which, I'll go into more in depth with that, but they kind of do our money and processing, accounting, budget, stuff like that. We have our Field Services Bureau. They are working cases. They're the frontline staff that the citizens mostly are talking to, the mothers, the fathers are talking to. And then we've got our Spot Bureau, which is just an acronym for System, Policy, Operations, and Technology. Brooke and I both work in the Spot Bureau, and we do anything in Spot from our computer system. We do policy writing, procedural writing. We have our operations unit that deals with all of our mail and other things. And then we've got technology, which is like our social media, our website, things like that. Okay, so our fiscal unit, they do our accounts payable. They pay all of our bills. They manage how our payments go out. We've got our TAP unit, which is technical assistance and payment. It's actually technical accounting and payment posting. I found a typo always. But they are responsible for processing all of our incoming payments from employers for income withholding or from parents directly and issuing all those payments out to our participants that are due the money. We have direct deposit is our big one. We also do like a prepaid debit card. It's called a Relia card. That's we can deposit money on there, and people can use that at stores or go get cash from an ATM or whatever. We do issue a few checks still, but we try to get away from anything that's not an electronic type of payment. It's just more efficient and quicker for folks. Fiscal also does all of our budgeting, our project coordination, and some of our federal reporting. Because all of our systems and all of our programs, we have the oversight of the federal government because of how we're funded. The state only has to provide 40% of our funding, approximately. The federal government provides the rest. So we get kind of a break there where we're not having to foot the full bill for ourselves. But because they're paying, they have a say in how we do things. So we have to keep them kind of keep them happy, I guess. Um, and then our biggest bureau is our Field Services Bureau. That is our actual caseworkers working cases, working on establishing orders, establishing paternities, collecting money, stuff like that. And then we have our administrative and our intake workers who also work for Field Services. They are kind of our frontline customer service. They answer a lot of our phone calls. They deal with customers that come into our offices across the state. Um, they take payments over the phone. They do they're kind of our jack of all trades. They do a lot of things for us, and they're very important to how things run. So, and our field services, kind of this explains where we have our offices and how our regional fields are broken down. I believe you are all in Region 2 up there in the northeast corner of our state. That is handled by our office in Great Falls. We also have an office in Billings, offices in Helena, offices in Butte and Missoula. So those are our main offices. We don't have too much on the eastern side. I think the farthest east we go is Billings, which is not really east, but that's as far east as our offices go. We do have tribal partners that have tribal child support programs. I think the closest one to you all was probably Fort Belknap, but there are offices in the Confederated Salish Kootenai, Chippewa Cree, and then Blackfeet reservations also. Okay, and then this is the bureau, the SPOT bureau that Brooke and I work in, System, Policy, Operations, and Technology. We work on anything with our system, any updates, upgrades, testing things, making sure we're in compliant with our federal regulations. Same thing with policy. We review, interpret, update all of our policies and procedures. Our operations unit under SPOT, that's where our employee relations unit is. We've got our central mail unit that processes all of the mail. We have a central mail post office box here in Helena where all the mail comes in and gets scanned in to a computer system so our workers across the state can just log into their computer and see what mail they've got to work on for their cases. And then we have an administrative orders unit that processes all of our or most of our administrative orders. So it's pretty central, pretty efficient operation we have. And then technology, that's program and interfaces, but that's also our website, our social media, stuff like that, just some technology things that we deal with. And we're kind of the catch-all. If it doesn't fit somewhere else, the SPOT Bureau seems to get tasked with making things, doing whatever else needs to happen for the division. So there's also a couple other, or three other offices that are really integral to our operation here. We have the Office of Administrative Hearings. That's where administrative law judges hear cases that originate from the child support division. So when we issue proposed orders, like we're establishing a support order for children, and one of the parents doesn't agree with something on it or doesn't think it's right or whatever, they have a due process right to a hearing. And that hearing is at the Office of Administrative Hearings. And an administrative law judge does a hearing like this, it's on Zoom, and they will treat it it's just like any other court hearing, but it's an administrative hearing done by the Office of Administrative Hearings. And then there's our Office of Legal Affairs. They are the attorneys and paralegals that represent the Department of Public Health and Human Services. And we contract with them as our attorneys when we need legal assistance on anything we do here at Child Support. One that's kind of our newer one is our print and mail here in Helena. It's a large operation where they print and mail out tons of things for state agencies. We used to do all of our own mailing, and it was a big job, and each regional office would do their own mailings. Now everything is printed centrally and mailed out centrally. So it's a huge efficiency and time and cost savings for us, and a little bit of time saving too. So we're kind of leveraging those technology upgrades and efficiencies to kind of to make our operation as efficient as possible. But those are also, yeah, these are very important to how we do things. So, so I will turn it over to Brooke, and then she will go through more in depth on kind of what the services we actually offer here at Child Support Services.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Kyle. Okay. So you're asking, how do you get child support services? So we receive direct requests from parents. Parents can fill out our enrollment form online or create a paper enrollment form. So you can go to the website, the www.childsupport.mt.gov, and there's a link right in the middle of the page that says enroll for services. If you wish to apply electronically, or we can get paper applications to people, or you can print them out from the website. We also receive referrals from the Office of Public Assistance for families receiving TANF and or Medicaid. And we receive referrals from other support agencies as well. Okay. So one of the things we can help with is locating parents. We interface with over 80 different databases providing information on the parents. Those include CLEAR, which helps is a system that or program that we use that helps give us information about addresses, past addresses, and such that we can locate parents. We report to the Credit Bureau, which can give us information as well. We use the Federal Parent Locator Service to help locate parents in the state. And then we can also contact other states to see if they can help locate parents as well. We have access to other state data, and we use the post office to verify addresses if we find a possible address and are not sure if that's correct. So one of the things we can do is we can establish paternity. If paternity has not been established, we can set up genetic testing for the parties. We can process admissions of paternity and default paternity orders. We also can get information from other methods that paternity was determined, but we do not do acknowledgements of paternity, but we can use those to help establish paternity. So that would be acknowledgements of paternity, court orders, adoptions, or presumed paternity. Okay. So if there is not an order and paternity has been established, we can establish a support order. And this is just an example of what the first page of support order looks like. In order to establish a support order, we gather financial information from both parents. If we are having difficulty getting information from one parent, we have some systems we can use to get information about quarterly and yearly wages. We calculate the monthly child support payments. So this, the sample notice and order concerning support, the next page would say, child support is due in this amount. It may be a per child per month amount. It may be a flat amount. We also include health insurance provisions stating which parent or both parents are to provide insurance. And then parents get an opportunity to request a hearing with the administrative law judge as well. To enforce support orders, we can send out income withholding orders, which is what there's an example on the left. We can send those to in-state employers and out-of-state employers. We intercept state and federal tax refunds. We report to the credit bureau. We can hold or deny passports based on the amount of arrears if the arrears are high. We can suspend licenses, including driver's license, wildlife conservation licenses, and a couple other licenses as well. We can collect lottery winnings, seize assets, and put liens on property. So we also are able to modify support orders. If we bequeath, so an order is eligible for establishment 3 years after a last order was completed, or if there are some changes in circumstances. In order to do that, the parties would need to request need to fill out a request for review. Those are not automatically. There's a reminder that goes out sometime every 3 years saying you may be eligible for review, but the parties would need to initiate that the start of the review. So it'd be just like establishing an order. We would gather information for both parties, calculate monthly child support, and then we could include health insurance provisions for parties to carry insurance. And with the modification, there's also a hearing opportunity with the administrative law judge.
Yeah, in the orders, I'll say they all have a sentence or two and say when that will stop. Under Montana law, it's 18 years of age unless they're still in high school, and then it can go up to 19 or until they graduate. So it's never past 19 in Montana unless the order specifically says a certain other date, but normally under the law, it's 18 if in high school, 19 or graduated. So
Okay, thank you.
some states are different, which is kind of confusing for us too, because we'll sometimes have to enforce orders from other states. And I think Colorado for a long time was 21, which I thought was kind of a, you got an adult for a couple years there, but they were still providing support for that child. But each state had their own laws and rules and how they did it. So you kind of have to make it all jive. Yep. If it doesn't meet, if they're not like, let's say, a disabled person or have no means of paying or whatever, yeah, those arrears balances don't just disappear when that child turns 18. We still try to collect on them and get all that money paid. We've got many cases where we're getting payments from Social Security on people, because they've gone that long without paying, and now we actually have an amount income source we can attach to pay off that. So they're, in their 60s paying off their child support, which is not how we want to do it. We want to get it paid off long before then. But sometimes, that's the only option we've got for some of these people that have just not wanted to pay and have gone underground or evaded us. We don't have all the resources under the world or under the sun to collect on these. But yeah, we do have some paying via Social Security. So simple answer, yes, they don't go away.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh,
And if anybody has further questions or questions about anything we do here, just send them to us and we can farm those out to whoever would be the best person to answer.
so just give them your email.
Yep, that's fine. Or actually, what I'll give you though is our general inbox for our email. It's just childsupport@mt.gov.
Okay.
And Brooke and I monitor that, so we'll get it either way. So